Think medieval people drank water? Think again. In an age before modern sanitation, water was often filled with bacteria and disease, so people turned to ale, mead, wine, and cider instead. But these weren't just drinks. They were essential to daily survival, grand feasts, and even religious rituals. From monks perfecting their ale recipes to knights toasting with goblets of wine, medieval beverages weren't just about quenching thirst. They shaped culture, economy, and even social status. Some were brewed in tiny village cottages, while others were traded across continents, influencing history in ways you wouldn't expect. So grab a mug, because we're about to travel back in time and uncover the fascinating world of medieval drinks, including some recipes you might even want to try today. If you lived in medieval Europe, you'd likely start your day with ale, even as a child. But don't worry, it wasn't as strong as modern beer. Medieval ale was a nutritional staple, providing calories and hydration when clean water was scarce. Workers were sometimes paid in ale. In medieval England, builders of churches and castles often received daily rations of ale, sometimes up to a gallon per person. Peasants brewed basic ale at home, but nobles enjoyed stronger, spiced versions flavored with ingredients like honey, rosemary, and even pepper. And if you wanted to hear the latest gossip, the tavern was the place to be. Alehouses were the social media of the Middle Ages, where deals were made, songs were sung, and legends were born. Wine wasn't just a drink, it was a symbol of power and prestige. Nobles and clergy indulged in fine wines from France, Italy, and Spain, while peasants rarely got a taste unless it was watered down or turned into vinegar. Medieval people rarely drank wine straight. Instead, they mixed it with honey, spices, or even heated it into a mulled wine, a tradition that still exists today. Wine was also central to religious ceremonies, symbolizing the blood of Christ in Christian rituals. And while the rich had cellars stocked with Bordeaux and Burgundy, monks became expert winemakers, ensuring churches always had a steady supply. Some of the world's most famous vineyards today trace their roots back to medieval monasteries. If any medieval drink deserves legendary status, it's mead. Made from fermented honey, mead was enjoyed by Vikings, Celtic warriors, and even royalty. It was often flavored with fruits, spices, and herbs, making it one of the most diverse drinks of the era. The word honeymoon comes from mead. Newlyweds were given a month's supply of mead to promote happiness and fertility. In Norse mythology, mead wasn't just a drink, it was magical. The legendary mead of poetry was said to grant wisdom and inspiration to anyone who drank it. Whether or not it actually made people smarter is debatable, but one thing's for sure. Mead remains one of the oldest alcoholic beverages in history. If you lived in medieval England or France, chances are you drank cider or perry, fermented from apples and pears. These drinks were especially popular in regions with abundant orchards, where farmers turned surplus fruit into delicious, lightly alcoholic beverages. Some medieval landlords accepted cider as rent. Instead of paying in coins, tenants could offer barrels of cider in exchange for living on the land. Cider houses became popular gathering spots, much like ale houses, where villagers celebrated harvests and feasted on the fruits of their labor. Literally, medieval people loved experimenting with flavors and medicine, blending herbs and spices into their drinks. Monks, healers, and apothecaries created herbal infusions believed to cure illnesses and boost health. Many medieval herbal drinks are still used today. Chamomile tea for relaxation, ginger for digestion, and mint for soothing the stomach. All medieval remedies that remain popular. Trade routes brought exotic spices from the Middle East and Asia, leading to richly flavored drinks like spiced wine and honeyed herbal ales. Some were so prized they were reserved only for the wealthy. While most medieval drinks contained alcohol, non-alcoholic options did exist. Herbal teas, fresh milk, and diluted fruit juices were common, especially for children and the sick. Some medieval cities had public fountains that provided clean drinking water. Though rare, a few towns invested in filtering systems, proving that not all medieval water was unsafe. And for those who avoided alcohol, monasteries often had strict rules about drinking, though that didn't stop them from brewing ale for the rest of society. From the nutrient-packed ales of the common folk to the fine wines of the aristocracy, medieval beverages weren't just for drinking, they shaped daily life, culture, and even trade. Whether it was mead fueling Viking legends or cider being used as currency, these drinks tell the story of a fascinating era. So next time you sip on a glass of wine, enjoy a warm mug of spiced cider, or try a modern mead. Remember, you're tasting history. If you loved this journey through medieval drinks, hit that like button, subscribe and share, so we can keep bringing the past to life, one sip at a time. Cheers.